Today, we're going to talk all about finding the data and creating the path. If you think that you've been thinking of a business idea or a way to market yourself as a lawyer once you're done with school, you want to make sure you pay attention to this episode. I am your host, Lavetta Jenkins, and today I'm talking to Hugo Gomez. He's the founder of Abogados NOW, which is a national Spanish marketing agency that helps attorneys to advertise to underrepresented communities. Welcome, Hugo. Thank you so much for being here with me today.
Awesome, Lavetta. Thanks for having me.
I am so excited about everything that's going on in your brain. I'm going to pick it and make sure I get all the stuff. First of all, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, so I am not an attorney, but I own a company called Abogados Now, and our job is to connect attorneys authentically to the Hispanic market, which makes up about 20% of the United States.
What made you choose attorneys?
Yeah, so I had a bit of experience in legal prior to
Mhm.
starting the company, and I saw that it was just a very untapped market,
Mhm.
legal and advertising to the Hispanic community.
Mm.
So I figured, why not be the first, even if we're early, maybe a little ahead of our time. I think it was still the right move. We're thriving right now, over 300 members in our program
Mm.
across the United States.
That's so. What was the initial struggle that you believe people were facing that even gave you the idea to start the company?
So when I had a job prior to starting the company, I just had so many conversations with other attorneys who knew that they needed to advertise to the Hispanic community, namely in Los Angeles, San Francisco, Houston, Miami, and these attorneys largely didn't know where to go. They knew that they were signing up Hispanic clients pretty regularly, without Spanish advertising. So they knew that there was something there that they could significantly change their business for the better if they were able to authentically speak to the community. So I heard that enough where I said, okay, maybe this is a time where attorneys go beyond, just putting a Spanish page on their website, or potentially, celebrating Cinco de Mayo once a year on their Instagrams. Exactly. So I just said there's a better way to elevate Hispanic marketing in the legal community, and it's a win-win. We get attorneys what they want for their business, but at the same time, we provide Hispanics great access that wasn't there before to legal resources.
So, with this access, I noticed that your business is more digital than traditional with marketing. How did you come about that strategy?
Yeah, so prior to starting the company, I read a number of media studies from Nielsen and Statista and the Pew Research Center. And when they studied consumer mobile device behavior, these studies concluded that Hispanics over index on using mobile phones. They also over index on streaming video content, and Hispanics over index on trusting social media content. So it was very wild to me that there weren't that many legal resources online in Spanish. Meanwhile, the data all showed that Hispanics are pretty sophisticated with digital mobile behavior. So I just wanted to bridge that gap between the these digital devices, the Hispanic community, and the legal community.
I think it's brilliant that you took a look into it first to see how they were consuming, their ads and how they were making their decisions, because it would make no sense to advertise on a billboard or on television if who you're looking for is primarily using a mobile phone or a tablet or something like that. They're not on desktops because they don't have that particular career line, but it made sense for you to see where they were and then get what they needed to them in that way. Were the people, the attorneys that you spoke to originally when you began, were they really on board with this, or did you have any of them who were saying maybe not?
A lot of pushback, tons of pushback. And it's one of those things where I had to show that this wasn't a gut feeling, that this was well studied. And it seems like every quarter there's a new study about the Hispanic market that solidifies this truth. I mean, just in January, Pew Research again looked into TikTok subscribers. The biggest percentage of them are Hispanics, over 30. And so this is like wild, I think it challenges a lot of the biases that we see just in general across the United States, that this is a market that isn't sophisticated due to their immigrant nature, that they only watch terrestrial, or rather listen to terrestrial radio, watch TV, read print. Couldn't be further from the truth. Like, Hispanics are generally moving away from these mediums, with the exception of radio. Radio is doing well in the Hispanic markets, but they're overwhelmingly adopting digital devices, namely mobile. So we're just following the trends, and my job, not just in sales conversations, but in just talking to the legal communities, to evangelize that you need to pay attention to this market, and you need to advertise and connect to them on the devices that they're using.
Right. So you said you wanted to evangelize to them, and that was probably one of the best uses of the words that I've heard in a non-Christian like setting, because it is that. It is making sure that you take the good word that you have and you give it to people who are skeptical, may not think that it's going to work, but also that you show them, look, give it to me and I'll show you that it works. So in the time since you started the company, how long do you think it took for the first doubter to believe?
Yeah, it is probably a month after signing with us, I would say, because it's one of the beauty about digital media is that when you pay for any ads or any kind of attention on digital media, it's fairly equitable because you're paying for an engagement or a phone call or a click. So with the exception, like, rather compared to TV, radio, or print, you pay dollars and you kind of cross your fingers and hope it works. With digital, it's just instantaneous, that feedback. So it's another reason why I wanted to only stick with digital, because we could prove this. We could prove the data through the campaigns that we run. So fairly quick turnaround, and word got around really quickly. So in the early days of the company, we were able to grow really fast in California, which is where we started.
Amazing. What is the percentage of people, do you think, who are lawyers who natively can speak Spanish, fluently, and be able to kind of get the point across and have a good conversation with a potential client?
It's about 3%. One out of 33 attorneys are able to have conversational Spanish conversations with potential clients or their active clients. But what's reassuring is that even if we work with a firm whose principal attorney doesn't speak Spanish, overwhelmingly, at least in the states that we do best in, which have the highest Hispanic populations, overwhelmingly these firms do have bilingual staff. So that enables us to work with them, because if the firm has zero ability to contact in Spanish or to service a client in Spanish, we have no purpose. So it's really, we're seeing this overall. It's pretty rare that a firm now doesn't have bilingual resources, virtual or not.
Right. So 3% of the people, of lawyers, speak it. And how many of the potential clients in the country would you say are Spanish speaking primarily or very little English?
Yeah, so of the 20%, this is from the census, of the 20% of the
Hmm.
United States that is Hispanic,
Okay.
about half only speak Spanish.
Mm.
So we're looking at 10%, or 30 to 50 million people in the United States who largely prefer to only speak Spanish.
Very, very, very wide open market with almost no one able to service it until you came along and made it so that they did have this access. So, are you primarily just only going to work with lawyers, or do you every now and then, help out a doctor or two?
We do, yeah. We actually started up some other companies. We started Doctores Now, which helps dentists, spas, chiropractors, medical centers uh, communicate to the Hispanic community in the same fashion. We also have Gente Now, which is another one of our companies for travel and entertainment. And then we have a company called SpanishLeads.ai, and that's to generate leads for like insurance companies, brokers, people in real estate. So we figured out that this is a service that doesn't really exist anywhere. And we said, why limit this to the legal community? Let's just provide these services to everyone in the United States who has a business that wants to grow their business, that needs and recognizes a path to connect to the Hispanic community. So at this point, I really believe we're going to go after, financial services at some point. It's going to be across the board.
I love the idea. I think that it's amazing that you kind of branched out, started with the lawyers, and then moved around as you saw the need. With the lawyers only being about 3%, you said 1 in 33 that speaks Spanish. If there was someone who's, maybe an undergrad getting ready to go to law school, or a 1L, or somebody who's getting ready to complete, and they speak very fluent Spanish, like maybe it was the language of their household, what would you tell them to do once they graduated, once they, passed the bar? What's the first course of action as a Spanish speaking lawyer?
I would say join a firm, big law or small firm, and be the de facto point of contact in Spanish for anyone who, or for any, for clients who speak Spanish. That's the best path to not just um, educate the firm on the market opportunity, but also to pave a path for yourself in your career to be a leader in a company, even if it is just through language initially and through community. I think that's a really really big step in one's career, to take ownership of something that is uncharted in a company. I would recommend that to anyone who speaks Spanish fluently, because the market opportunity is there. More often than not, these attorneys that we work with, they just don't know what next step to take. Whereas if you are Honduran, Mexican, Puerto Rican, Dominican, like you probably have a sense of the culture of what values to promote, what values to not promote. That's really valuable to a firm, because a firm should be a public service, but at the end of the day, it's still a business. So it still relies on getting clients or customers and retainers, if not revenue. So I think owning that lane, whether or not it's uncharted, is highly recommended for anyone going into law.
It's kind of like noticing that there's a whole bunch of wilderness and there should be a path, and then you are the one to create that path to wherever you're trying to go. If you know, like what you did with your company, there's something missing, you got an idea for it, do the research, flesh it out, get out there and be the first one to do it, and then make way for the people to come after you. So with you starting the business primarily legally at first, what was the one thing that maybe your family or someone said in support of or against this amazing idea that probably started off kind of crazy?
Yeah, I mean, full support. Fortunately, my wife, my mom, my sister, my friends, they all thought it was uh, surprisingly. I was so surprised to get their unanimous support, because I think they understood it. Like when they asked for the why, I said because when I Google it, I couldn't find it. So someone's got to satisfy that need. So I think it was just really self evident. And, just anecdotally, I'm in Los Angeles. So I'm surrounded by communities that are Hispanic communities. So I'm in conversations all the time. My friends are doctors, my friends are lawyers, my friends, work in blue collar, just across the board, across all socioeconomic backgrounds. When I asked around, anecdotally, it was very obvious that Spanish resources for professional services were just limited. They were always an afterthought. It's always like this page on a website or a single social media mention or a newsletter once a year. It's never been a core strategy. So just anecdotally, I think people around me saw it. So it was really easy to get buy-in.
Mm. I like the fact that your family saw you as like the hero. And the one thing that just caught me is this is what I wish everyone would understand about creating your niche. If you're looking for something and you search for it and it's not there, maybe you should just do it.
Yeah.
Maybe you should
Oh,
just do it.
1000%. It's like if you write a song and you like it, there's a chance that someone else likes it too.
Mm-hmm.
It's same logic. Just go after it.
a song, a painting, a business, whatever it is, make sure that when you have that idea and you've looked high and low and it does not exist, make it yourself. There's a lot to be said about doing the data research and making sure that you're targeting to the right people. For those who are trying to, get out of law school and or even get in, and they're thinking of where do I go, what steps do I take? You've said that creating that, being that is one of the best things that you could do. Is there something you would tell someone not to do when, trying to get into these spaces?
Yeah, I actually, in terms of like growing your legal career, yeah, I would say don't buy advertising. And I feel like like a fool saying that, but um, I think the best businesses are organically grown in the beginning. And once you've built enough income to invest in scaling, then I would go after advertising. So what I mean by that is like start small. Like there one you have your phone, probably has at least 250 phone numbers in it, right? You want to contact everyone there. You want to contact everyone in your social media groups, everyone in your email list. And then the big one that I think is fairly new development and something that we're promoting a lot is attorneys just talking to their selfie cam, and creating short videos every day, like without skipping a beat. I don't understand the Facebook algorithm. No one does. I don't understand. But you notice that when you like something, it just serves you content that you will more than likely be interested in. Just kind of blindly trust it because it will do its job about serving your content to people in your target market. So I just tell people that are starting early in their firms, especially in their legal careers, just build a personal brand. I'm of the big belief that logos are going to be a thing of the past. Companies are going to be a thing of the past. I think people will be the company moving forward. So it's why I personally promote myself just as much as I promote the company because I understand that lawyers don't want to speak with a corporation, they want to speak to people.
I think that was crazy. You said logos are going to be a thing of the past. And I'm like, oh no. But when you think about it, it's more so someone's signature or someone's initials or, just something super small, an emblem, but it's not necessarily full on, thoughtful, realized logos anymore. It is becoming the person. Mm,
Yeah, I just had a story with a friend of mine. He has an amazing business in e-commerce, and I'm sure are you familiar with Gary Vaynerchuk
I've heard the name.
or Gary V? He's like a
Yeah, I've
yeah,
heard the
so he's like a
name.
business influencer. So this guy's like well known, online, and my friend told me that he just signed up with his media agency. I'm like, what's his media agency's name? And he told me, I don't know. I'm like, that is crazy that my friend just signed a six-figure contract with this guy, just his name, without knowing his company's name. And I think that just like kind of cemented it that my friend only engaged in this massive contract with this guy's company just as a result of that online relationship, that face building, that personal branding. And he doesn't even know who he's sending checks to. And so I think it's kind of mind blowing that this is the world we're in. Even at the highest levels, we don't want to engage with brands. We want to engage with owners and leaders and folks that are going to help provide value to us.
Right. You don't want to be one of many. You want to be able to talk to a person when you have an issue and you want to be able to trust that person. And building a trustworthy personnel and being who you authentically are is definitely what's going to bring you the people who are supposed to be with you.
Yeah.
I would say that 100%.
And it's funny that you mentioned the authenticity. Like I really think that that's super important. If you want to wear a suit and tie, cool. If you feel comfortable in that, great. If you don't want to wear that, and if you just want to wear a t-shirt like I'm wearing, because this is who I am, these are the glasses I like, this is the haircut I feel comfortable in, just promote that. If you're not meant to be liked by everyone or accepted by everyone, and that's okay. So be yourself, promote yourself. Like I really think that personal branding is like this blue ocean for anyone new in the legal community, those that want to pursue being a lawyer. I think the ones who have the personal brands are essentially going to overtake or take over those faces we see on the billboards, the faces that we see in the TV and hear about in the radio jingles. I think that world is gone. I think right now it's so one-to-one relationship between people, brands, and consumers.
Ooh, that was some good stuff, Hugo. If people wanted to know more about you and your company, where would they go?
So there's two places at large. You can find me at bilingualmarketing.com. That's our parent company, which owns all these different agencies. But for the work that we do in legal, you can find me at abogadosnow.com. And my email is Hugo, Hugo, at abogadosnow.com.
All right. So we're going to make sure we get people over there in case they have any more questions or they want to find out more about this amazing company and all you are doing. I've learned so much from you today that I know I'm going to be picking your brain again. Thank you so much, Hugo, for being my guest today. I greatly appreciate it. Thank you.